Alright, so we're back, of course, to talk about some Final Fantasy XVI. Before we hop into it, I want to clarify that this is, in fact, older gameplay. Of course, it's pretty obvious. It's young Clive. But that's for a reason, because where I'm at in the game right now, I don't want to record gameplay because it would be a spoiler for like who's in my party, what's happening in the world in the game, etc., etc. The icons that I'd have, all that shit would be spoilers. So I just opted to use some old gameplay that I captured from the demo. And ultimately, with the subject matter for the video, the gameplay itself doesn't matter. As for my progress, I have like 50-something hours or so in 16 right now, and it says, at least on the PlayStation home screen, that I have like, I'm at like 70-something%, 76% or something like that last I checked. So I'm pretty close to the end game. I have like one area I've yet to go and explore. Like it's not, there's no like fast travel points over there yet. So that's all going to lead up to the end game over there, obviously, and that's kind of where I'm at. So if you know, you know. Speaking of which, really quickly, actually, you know, I don't know how people are already on their like second and or third playthroughs. I've seen people already on their third playthrough, and this game has not been out for a week yet. I don't know what they're doing. Are you just speedrunning through the game? You just playing the story only, skipping the side quests and the hunts? Are you skipping through cutscenes and dialogue? Like, what? How are people already on like a second or third playthrough? That's crazy to me, bro. How many hours are people putting into this game every day? It's insane. Anyways, on to the subject matter. Final Fantasy XVI is performing very, very well. We learned today, in fact, that it has already sold 3 million copies, which is pretty damn good. Considering, again, that it hasn't even been a week yet, it's a kind of divisive game, sort of. It's really just like these old heads that just don't want to move on with the franchise because it's moving into more action-based stuff. And it's not turn-based, so that's an issue, when in reality, a majority of the franchise has never been turn-based because it's always been ATB for the most part. It's like the first 3 games in like Final Fantasy X are like the true turn-based Final Fantasies. Everything else has been pretty much ATB. Anyways, the game's performing well. In fact, it is the fastest-selling PlayStation 5 exclusive, as in it's only on PS5, not PS4, PS5, which there's not a whole lot of options there. There's no real competitors, if you want to be honest with it. And it's also the 6th fastest-selling PlayStation exclusive ever, putting it alongside giants like God of War Ragnarok, Last of Us Part 2, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Spider-Man PS4, God of War 2018, and even Ghost of Tsushima. So it's nice to see the game performing well. It'll be interesting to see where it ends up, because if you look at the finalized numbers for some of those games, like, you know, Spider-Man PS4, you know, Marvel Spider-Man, whatever you want to call it, that game's hit like 20+ million sells. I don't know if that's including like the PS5 version of that game, or if it's just the PS4 version, but that game's hit some crazy numbers, and I don't foresee 16 going that goddamn high. This does mean, however, that it is technically a little bit behind when you compare it to Final Fantasy VII Remake, because Remake had sold 3.5 million copies within just like 3 days. But obviously the comparison there isn't necessarily fair, because we're towards the end of the life cycle for the PS4. There's like 100+ million PS4s in the world. There's not that many PS5s sold yet. So it's not necessarily a fair comparison, but it is worth pointing out. If anything, that's a testament to how popular and successful 16 is, that even though there's not as big of a player base for whenever like Remake launch versus 16's launch, it still sold a similar amount, roughly. This is also worth talking about just because there was these rumors ahead of the launch of 16 that like Square Enix or PlayStation or somebody was like getting cold feet, that the game wasn't going to perform as well as they were hoping, etc., etc., and clearly that wasn't the case. Like, the game was successful. We definitely talked about this before, too, in a previous video, and I remember, like, me personally shutting down those rumors because that made no fucking sense. This game was being hyped to the moon and back for a good reason. It wasn't the Forspoken hype, right? I know I keep shitting on that game, but it's really the comparison here because it's one of the other few, like, PS5 exclusive games that exist right now. Like, there's way too many people talking about this game, like big content creators, like people on Twitch that have like millions of followers and shit that were playing this game and talking about how good it was, showing off to their massive audience, right? Like, there's no way this game wasn't going to be successful. Also, if we just do a bit of math on that, there's like 30-something million PS5s in the world, and like the fact that this sold like 3 million in a couple days, right? Shows that there's like somewhere around like under the 10% mark of everybody that owns a PS5 bought a copy of Final Fantasy 16. That's insane, man. That's more or less the video, my dudes. I've been trying to grind as much as I can playing some 16, but it's pretty lengthy, man. Like I said, I'm like the 75, 76% mark on completion. I'm at like 50-something hours. So this game's definitely longer than what was told to us. I think Yoshi P or somebody said it's like a 30-hour game, but that might just be story. But I don't know why anybody would just play the story. Like, why would you not do side quests and side content, especially when they're actually rewarding? I won't give any spoilers depending on how far you are into the game, but it is absolutely worth doing the side quests and the hunts and stuff in this game, like 100%. That is indeed the video, my dudes. Final Fantasy 16 is performing well financially. Not really a surprise. Anyways, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Social networks in the description below. Follow me on Twitter, @DavidYT. That's it. Bye.
Used to care what people thought, but now I care more, and nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame. We blow that like Coltrane. We in here like Logain, or leave it like Cobain.